I always thought the worst pain a man could feel was losing a child, but I was wrong. The worst pain is realizing the child never died. It was taken, sold. My name is Malcolm. I'm 35 years old, and I used to think I had a normal life, a good job, a nice house in Atlanta, and a wife who I believed wanted the same things I did. Her name was Vanessa. We'd been married for 4 years and trying for a baby for 2. Every appointment, every test, every failed pregnancy. I was there. When we finally got the news that she was pregnant, I remember driving home from the clinic with tears in my eyes. We had done it. It was real. I was going to be a father. Vanessa was glowing for those first few months. She'd hold her belly like it was the most sacred thing in the world. We decorated the nursery together. Yellow walls, little stars on the ceiling. We had a name picked out. If it was a girl, we'd name her Ivy. A boy, Elijah. I kept the ultrasound pictures in my wallet. I even started writing letters to my unborn child. One for every week Vanessa was pregnant. Letters I never got to give. Because one rainy Thursday afternoon, Vanessa came home and told me she'd lost the baby. Just like that. No warning signs, no hospital records, no doctor's call. Just a tear-streaked face and trembling lips. She said she went alone, that she didn't want to worry me. She said the heartbeat stopped sometime in the night, that she had the miscarriage at the clinic, that she didn't want to talk about it, and I believed her. I remember holding her for hours on the couch while she sobbed, and I remember something strange too. She was wearing makeup, foundation, eyeliner. Her lips were painted. I thought maybe she'd been trying to feel normal before everything went wrong, but it stayed with me. A whisper in the back of my mind I couldn't shake. Something wasn't right. Vanessa spent the next few days in bed. She barely spoke, didn't eat much, didn't cry either. Not after that first night. She just shut down. I tried to give her space. I told myself grief looked different for everyone. I stayed quiet when she deleted all the baby photos from her phone. I stayed quiet when she said she didn't want a memorial or a service, or even to talk about a name. But the whisper in my head, it got louder. One night, she forgot to close her laptop. That's when everything began to unravel. I wasn't snooping. At least, that's what I told myself. But the screen was open to her email, a draft. It read, "Pickup is confirmed for Tuesday. Papers signed. Cash balance due on arrival." At first, it didn't register. Pickup, papers, cash? And then I saw the subject line, "Adoption finalization, private arrangement." My stomach twisted. I clicked her browser history. There were searches like, "Private adoption, no agency." "How much can you get for newborn adoption?" "Is it illegal to sell a baby in Georgia?" I felt the blood drain from my face. This wasn't a miscarriage. It wasn't even close. My wife had faked the death of our baby, and she was trying to sell it. I didn't confront her right away. I couldn't. My hands were shaking, my mind racing. What if I was wrong? What if this was something else? I spent the next day acting normal, cooked her breakfast, sat beside her on the couch while she scrolled through her phone like nothing had happened. But I started watching closely. She never let her phone out of sight. She flinched when I walked into the room unexpectedly. She said she had a doctor's follow-up. But when I offered to drive her, she insisted she'd Uber. I followed her. She didn't go to the clinic. She went to a townhouse 2 neighborhoods over, stayed for 30 minutes, came out carrying a pink duffel bag and a manila folder. I snapped a photo from the car, zoomed in later. The folder had legal documents. The bag had baby wipes sticking out of the side pocket. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely breathe. That night, She smiled at me over dinner. "Thank you for being so supportive," she said. Her voice was soft, warm. Most men would have walked away. I stared at her, fork frozen halfway to my mouth. She was lying to my face, and I had to know the truth. I waited until she fell asleep. Then I took her phone from the nightstand. I'd never done that before, but something inside me had broken. Trust wasn't just cracked, it was gone. Her phone was locked, but I'd seen her type the passcode 100 times. 9/17, our anniversary. When it unlocked, I felt sick. The first thing I saw was a message. "We got the cash. She doesn't suspect a thing. Her husband thinks she lost the baby." It was from a number with no name, just initials. RT. There were more messages, older ones. "Clinic agreed to no questions. Adoption will be sealed. She's okay with the payout terms." I felt like I was falling. There were also photos. One of her, still visibly pregnant, holding a handwritten sign with a date. 2 weeks after she told me about the miscarriage. Another of a baby wrapped in a hospital blanket. I recognized the teddy bear in the background. It was one she'd bought in her second trimester. She said she wanted it in the nursery. She didn't lose the baby, she sold it, and she was pretending it never existed. I sat on the floor of our bedroom, phone still glowing in my hands, trying not to scream. She stirred in her sleep behind me. I didn't know who she was anymore, but I knew one thing. This wasn't over. The initials RT haunted me. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I just kept going over every name, every face we knew. And then it hit me. Rachel Thomas, Vanessa's old college roommate. They hadn't spoken in years. At least that's what she claimed. But she was at our baby shower, and she worked at a private adoption agency. Vanessa mentioned it once, casually. I started digging. I found the agency. I found Rachel's name on the staff list, and I found the exact date of an adoption filing. Same day Vanessa had told me she'd lost the baby. The adoptive couple's names were listed as confidential, but the lawyer listed, same firm Vanessa's uncle worked at. Everything was connected. The lies weren't just hers. It was a network, a cover-up. But why? Why go through all of this? Why not just tell me the truth? Then I remembered something Vanessa had said in passing months ago. "We're barely making ends meet. A baby would ruin us." I thought it was fear talking. Now I saw it for what it was. A motive, not just fear. Greed. And now, I needed to know who had my child. I called Rachel. Blocked number, masked voice. I pretended to be a prospective adoptive parent. Said I had some questions. She agreed to meet me. Public coffee shop, neutral ground. I arrived early. Watched every person walk through the door. Then she came in. Same Rachel. Slick hair, polished heels, no guilt on her face. When I introduced myself, her expression changed. "Isaac, I didn't know. You didn't know I'd figure it out?" She tried to play innocent. "I'm just the coordinator. I don't know what she told you." I pulled out a photo. Vanessa, 8 months pregnant. She said she had a miscarriage. This was 2 weeks before that. Rachel's hand trembled. I kept going. "The adoption paperwork. Her name's on it, and your agency's name is stamped all over it." She looked around nervously, lowered her voice. "You have no idea what you're getting into. Try me." She paused, then whispered, "She sold the baby." $75,000 under the table. The couple is from out of state. They wanted privacy. I felt like the floor vanished beneath me. "You helped her sell our child." Rachel leaned in. "Don't make this harder than it has to be. She's gone. The baby's gone. Just Move on. I stood up and walked out. The rage was blinding. But I wasn't done. Not even close. I went straight to a lawyer, explained everything. The faked miscarriage, the secret adoption, the money trail. He listened without interrupting, then said, "This isn't just immoral, it's criminal." He filed a petition to subpoena the adoption agency's records. We pushed for fraud, coercion, and parental rights violations. That same night, I received a message. Anonymous account, no profile photo. "If you want your son back, stop digging." It wasn't a threat, it was a warning. I traced the number. Burner phone, untraceable, but the message had a clue. A location tag left on by mistake. Boise, Idaho. I booked a flight. When I landed, I had one address. A gated community, upscale. Security cameras on every driveway. I waited outside for hours until I saw her. Vanessa, holding a baby. My baby. I didn't run to her, didn't scream. I took a photo, then another, then I left. I had what I needed. Proof. She hadn't miscarried. She hadn't grieved. She had lied, packaged our child as property, and handed him to strangers. For money. Back home, the case moved quickly. My lawyer filed an emergency motion. Photos, bank records, agency paperwork, all laid bare before the judge. Vanessa was served at her new address. She didn't even deny it. Just cried in court, said she was desperate, said I wouldn't understand. She was right about one thing. I didn't understand. I never would. The judge issued a temporary custody halt, ordered the adoptive family to appear. Turns out they'd been told I had abandoned the child. More lies, more damage. They weren't evil, just deceived. I met them, showed them everything. They cried too. Then, something I didn't expect happened. They offered to help. If you're the father, he should know you. Months passed. DNA confirmed what I already knew. The court finalized the reversal, and one quiet Saturday morning, I held my son again. He was heavier than I remembered, his eyes brighter, but his laugh still the same. I didn't hate Vanessa anymore. Hate takes energy I don't want to waste. I just wanted peace. For me, for my boy, and I got it. It's not a fairy tale. It's not clean, but it's real. And sometimes that's more than enough.